Well guys, I've made quite a lot of mistakes, and not gonna lie, some of these have really costed me. So to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistakes as me, I ain't gonna gatekeep them from you. So let's get right into the video. So I'm gonna be honest, me personally, I never really had a problem with the way that Wuthering Waves looked as a whole, but I have seen a lot of complaints on Twitter and on YouTube videos that people are complaining about the Wuthering Waves look and how it looks really washed and dead. So I'll be real with you, I'm gonna consider this a mistake because I did not know that Wuthering Waves could look this beautiful. So what I figured out is if you go into settings and go under brightness and you bring the bar from where it's defaulted at half all the way back to 25% of the bar, or if you want to be different, you can bring it back all the way down to 0%, it will absolutely change the look of Wuthering Waves. It will go from looking gray and washed to saturated with this really nice glow effect that looks absolutely aesthetic. I mean, take a look guys, just take a look at the difference. It looks absolutely amazing. Everything's more vibrant and it's absolutely popping at you. And even during combat when you're fighting, the colors are just flying everywhere. The abilities look great, and mixed with Kurogame's amazing sound design on this game, I just really can't get enough, and I can't stress it enough that I was playing this game in another way before this. Now I'm gonna be real with you all, I would have saved a whole bunch of time from the launch of Wuthering Waves if I just used an interactive map. I don't know who is the team or who is the legend that made these interactive maps, but shout out to you because never in a million years would I ever do something like this. There is a whole bunch of other gamers that will use this map and get a head start on what they need to do as far as Wuthering Waves go. Because for me, I could have looked for certain plants I needed or herbs for essential materials. I could have made myself farming routes and made my life a little bit easier. I could have marked all the Sonnets caskets. I even could have marked where those red outlined mini bosses were, because literally the interactive map has it all. You could select and deselect certain things if there's too much on the interactive map and then go and mark it on your map. It's absolutely crazy, and I would suggest using this because it's a game changer and would have been more than useful for me on my first playthrough of Wuthering Waves. I would have saved so much time. So if you're one of those players who are not using the interactive map, I highly recommend it. And to be fair, you might not be a hardcore gamer that's trying to 100% complete the map, but the interactive map is useful for all players, because if you're looking for a certain thing in the open world, an interactive map will tell you where to get it, not your regular map. Just keep that in mind. So you are a gamer that's trying to grind this game as fast as possible without facing any repercussions or consequences down the road. I do think it's very important to play the main story first, which I still 95% agree with, because I still believe there's one thing you need to do before playing the main story. Obviously, besides the tip I gave you beforehand with the interactive map, because marking everything to 100% complete the map might not be everyone's goal. But when starting Wuthering Waves, you must consider grabbing waypoints as one of your main quests, or at least act like it is, because during your main story playthrough, once you hit, I think it was level 16, Wuthering Waves is going to force you to stop playing the main story up until you hit level 21. Now, the reason why this ties into waypoints is because I didn't grab every single waypoint before this happened to me, mainly because it was my first playthrough since the launch of Wuthering Waves, and no one really could have warned me. So the reason why you should do this is because if you're gonna do side quests or maybe exploration quests, which the exploration quests take a long time, let me just tell you, you will be able to teleport to and from waypoints during side quests or exploration quests, or hey, even your main quests in the future, and this will save you a whole bunch of time, so that way you could just rip through the quests. And I won't even lie to you, it's not even just about the quests. If you need to go to boss fights or maybe farm different routes or look for certain echoes, whatever the case may be, having waypoints to go to from the beginning of your gacha open world RPG game is quite literally the best feeling ever. At this point, it is very common knowledge to use your wayplates up. This should be in your daily routine every single time you log on to Wuthering Waves. The goal ultimately is to keep that wayplate number from 240 out of 240 to 0 out of 240. Now, that is not the only reason why I bring up wayplates. Now, for me personally, I already had the common knowledge to use my wayplates up as soon as I log on to Wuthering Waves. But what I didn't know is without guidance, I was actually using my wayplates wrong and insufficiently. I made the mistake of choosing a random boss fight and just fighting them because I felt like I wanted to fight them because it was fun, instead of doing the research and understanding what that boss would drop me for my account. Not only did I do a whole bunch of farming on the main bosses, which was proven to be very inconsistent, but I wasted a whole bunch of valuable time and materials when I could have been doing other things like the simulation challenge or the task field cleanup, and especially the forgery challenge. Me having the idea in my head to waste my wayplates as quickly as possible to keep that number at 0 actually stirred me in the wrong direction as far as how I could use them and of value to me. I wasted so much time holding my resonators back from ascending, holding my weapons back from ascending, and being able to pre-farm for future resonators like Yin Lin. To not follow in my footsteps and avoid this mistake, I was suggest going into your guidebook and actually reading what you're using your wave plates for. Whether you need that for resonator ascension materials, weapon ascension materials, or even if you want to take your farming on an easier route and farming 5-star or 4-star echoes, which is honestly a really good way to try to get that data bank level up. So ultimately, yes, you want to keep your wave plate number very low, but you want to use those wave plates every time you log on very efficiently, or else you may grow impatient like me in the end game and resort to using your solvent crystals, which will fuel your wave plates back up so that way you can continue your grind. But it would be way better for your account later on in the game to have these stacked up when you gain a new resonator so you can build them instantly. Take my word for it, because not having resources in this game absolutely sucks. Now, farming and Wuthering Waves is absolutely one of the most important things that you should be doing. And a quick little tip, if you go to your tool wheel, you could actually select sensor. If you use the sensor, you can scan around you and see where certain materials are that you can farm. When I was rushing through the main story, I made the mistake and didn't understand what exactly the sensor does because, you know, I was rushing and didn't read. So if you're like me and you were rushing through, make sure you utilize the sensor because it will really come in handy. Now, why would you farm? Why would I waste my time doing that? Because farming stuff in the open world, such as ores, plants, and herbs, are actually very useful all around and will benefit you in the long run. And besides, it's not really something that you always gotta focus on. You can focus on it when you're doing exploration quests or even side quests, or maybe when you're up and about collecting chests and defeating different echoes to gain more asteroid and gacha currency. The benefit to farming the open world is you could cook dishes just like how Kuro Games cooked on Wuthering Waves. I mean, if we're gonna be for real, this is the best gacha game of 2024. But getting back on topic, cooking dishes will help you in your combat. Dishes give you different types of buffs, and even after you've fallen or if you died to a really hard enemy like maybe the hologram, the effects from the dishes actually last for a very long time. Also, not only is that a benefit to you, but if you look at the bottom side of the screen after you cook a dish, you have an XP bar called your proficiency level. This level actually marks how good you are at cooking in Wuthering Waves. And the more you cook, you could actually gain lots of rewards such as different recipes for other meals, different resources and XP materials, and astrite. Also, another tip to get the most out of cooking, before cooking, if you go to your list of resonators, sometimes one of them actually cooks the dish better than your other resonators do, leading to a better variation of the current dish you were trying to cook. I guess we can call that a skill issue. Also, there might be a chance that you're short on ingredients. If you didn't know about Mahi's Grocery, my guy is the plug for any type of ingredients you fall short on. Now, the reason why you should mine ores is because you could actually craft a whole bunch of different weapons. And although it may only be 4-star weapons, but if you actually read through them, some of them have pretty interesting benefits that might help your resonators. For example, I'm going to start making farming routes for these gauntlets. When the resonator dashes or dodges, increases attack by 8%, increases counterattack damage by 50%, lasting for 8 seconds. When counterattack is performed, restores the resonator's HP by 5%. This effect can be triggered one time every 6 seconds. Like, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that extra attack percentage might actually make a difference on my resonator. Again, with farming the open world, it is very beneficial to you for this reason as well. Using the synthesizer in the same aspects as cooking a meal applies to synthesizing buffs that could help your team out in the long run. So essentially, all those herbs you grabbed in the open world of your game will work exactly like the food items, except when it comes to synthesizing, the effects last a lot less longer. However, similar to having a chef level in Wuthering Waves, you are given a synthesis level as well. The better your proficiency becomes with making potions, the more obtainable rewards that you gain. And similar to cooking specialty dishes, certain resonators are actually better at making potions than others, which again I assume is a skill issue. Now, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce this guy's name, but the Relic Merchant has lots of rewards that you should not be missing out on. In order to collect these rewards, you have to go around the open world of the map and collect these Sonance caskets, which, by the way, as I mentioned before earlier in the video, you can use the interactive map to locate these Sonance caskets and be on your way to collect these free rewards such as gacha currency like astrite, free standard banner pulls, and even a rover duplicate or a rover wave band. While going around and doing various activities in the open world, like gathering chests and completing puzzles, for example, you are given this currency called wooden grain fragments. You can use these wooden grain fragments to purchase free standard banner gacha pulls, or in other words, lustrous tides. You may also purchase recipes for cooking different meals and obtain lots of other level up materials like XP materials and premium tuners. We also have Coco, who runs the Shift Fang Pharmacy. In this pharmacy, you can purchase the herbs and plants that I was talking about you collect in the open world. But of course, if you follow the open world rules of any gacha game, then you will spend almost no time here. But Coco has a whole bunch of plants plants, herbs, and ingredients that you might need. After doing that hard work and grinding in the open world aspects of Wuthering Waves, make sure you visit Maki at the Pioneer Association. Here, Maki will give you a bunch of rewards for your exploration progress throughout the open world aspects of Wuthering Waves. So each time you go to grind the open world aspects of the game, make sure you come directly back here to gain yourself some rewards. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't look through what each and every reward does. However, I do know you gain free rewards that you might be interested in, like XP, level up materials, and astrate. And I'm gonna be real, this is something you can work on towards the end game of Wuthering Waves. Just another thing to add on to your bucket list. Now, farming echoes can get real tedious and be really annoying at times when you're trying to rank up your data bank level. So I've got a couple of key tips that's gonna make this process a lot faster and less annoying. Sometime during your playthrough of Wuthering Waves, you're gonna need to rank up from 4-star echoes to 5-star. And sometimes waiting for a tacit Discord to drop an echo is absolutely the worst pain ever. So just use the data merge feature to help out your grind. And sometimes you might get lucky and get a 4-star echo that you won't have to get later. And of course, the absolute fastest way to grind echoes is grabbing a friend once you're both union level 22 and jumping into co-op to mess things up. You can join my personal community Discord where we host Wuthering Waves discussions and a whole bunch of other gacha games. And you could also use the echo tracking feature to track certain tacit discords. However, like I said before earlier in the video, just use the interactive map. The interactive map is a complete guide on everything in the open world of Wuthering Waves. And I will mention it again that you absolutely need to use it because it will really come in handy. Also, a bonus tip, if you haven't used your wave plates, you can use it on the tacit field. The tacit field has echo drops as well that are completely randomized, and who knows, you might get lucky and get one that you haven't discovered yet. Well, that is all I have for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, or maybe I helped you out, please smash the subscribe button down below so you can find your way back to the channel. And while you're at it, comment something new that you learned, or comment something that could help out another gamer. That's it for now. Peace.